Welcome everybody to Law&Crime Daily. I'm Jesse Weber. We officially have a plea from accused Idaho college student killer Bryan Kohberger. Today we're updating you on what's happened since Monday's arraignment when the judge laid out the charges for the defendant, the court, and everyone watching at home.
Mr. Kohberger, do you understand the charge in count one?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count two, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count three, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count four, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count five, murder in the
Yes.
first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Okay, because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge. Counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
All right, so let's dive into some updates and what we've learned since that hearing. First up, Ann Taylor, Kohberger's public defender, filed a motion to get a copy of all the information presented to the grand jury. The grand jury met in secret and determined the charges for Kohberger's indictment. That meant that the defendant would not need to have a preliminary hearing in June and could enter a plea. Taylor's looking for things like a transcript of any evidence presented as well as testimony. The motion also asked that any costs associated with compiling the information paid by the county since Kohberger was found to be indigent. A second update. Family members of one of Kohberger's victims released a statement after the arraignment. University of Idaho students Kaylee Gonsalves, Maddie Mogan, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were killed in November inside an off-campus home. Kaylee's family has been the most vocal about the investigation and the prosecution of the case. In a statement, they said, quote, "The family would like to thank everyone for continuing to follow this case and keep the memories of Kaylee, Maddie, Zana, and Ethan alive. They are what is important, not the defendant. We are thankful that the Latah County District Attorney's Office finally took the case to a grand jury and came back with an indictment." And finally, we've now learned that at least 2 families have filed notice reserving their right to sue the city of Moscow. Kaylee and Maddie's families may seek damages against the city after their daughters were murdered. No lawsuit has been filed as of yet, but family attorneys say that this protects the family's rights. Let's break it down. Joining me right now, my co-host and legal analyst, defense attorney Brian Buckmeyer, and former trial attorney Terry Austin. Terry, I'll start with you. So the families filed this notice to reserve their right to sue, but what type of lawsuit could they actually bring, and why not just file it now?
Well, I think they're probably waiting to see the outcome of the criminal trial. It'll kind of bolster their case. But the notice they filed is a requirement, and it's like that in most cities. Before you sue a city, you generally have to file a notice that you are going to sue the city. They didn't put any details in this notice of claim, but I'm assuming it's going to be a wrongful death action. And for that, they're claiming that the city was negligent, that they owed a duty, that duty was breached. And I'm trying to imagine what they are going to say, that perhaps they should have provided security and safety. I think it's going to be a difficult claim. Now, if they prevail, they will get economic damages, so they could get something like lost wages for their family members that passed. And they can also get non-economic damage, which would include loss of consortium or loss of, that support that they would have gotten from their family member.
Brian, the grand jury materials that the defense wants, what are they and why is it so important to them?
Jesse, grand jury materials are any information that was either presented to the grand jury or that was created in front of them. That could be evidence that was presented, any kind of graphs, videos, photographs. It could also be the transcripts. It's secret, the grand jury process, because the defense doesn't know when it happens, who is testifying, and they can't be present for any of the testimony unless their own client testifies, and they can only be present for their client's testimony. So the grand jury minutes that what are being taken down as someone testifies is being recorded, taken down, and that's the most important information at this point, and maybe even during the trial, because you get to know who the witnesses are, what they said, and you can begin your investigation, and even maybe impeach those witnesses come the time of trial.
And the defense wants to know so that they can prepare a defense for the upcoming trial in the fall. And we're finishing today's show in New Mexico, where the defense attorney for L&C Trevizo is speaking publicly about her case. Trevizo is the young woman accused of killing her newborn son in January by stuffing him in a hospital trash can. The 19-year-old had gone to the hospital with back pain, and the staff performed a routine pregnancy test. At one point, Trevizo asked to go to the bathroom, and when nurses finally got her to unlock the door, the room was covered in blood. A cleaning woman found the newborn. An autopsy ruled the baby's death a homicide, saying he died from a lack of oxygen. Trevizo was charged with first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. She's pleaded not guilty. In recently released body camera video, you can hear a nurse explaining what happened to the police.
We did a pregnancy test on her, showed positive. She was denying that she had sex. Then she said she had to go to the bathroom. She went to the bathroom. She was in there for quite a while. We kept knocking on the door. Finally, we got her to open the door, and there was blood everywhere. She was cleaning it up. Okay. So we took her back to the room, and I was afraid that she knew she was pregnant. She had done something to herself. So the doctor started doing a vaginal exam on her. We had the lady come to clean the bathroom. She put the baby in the trash can, and then she put another clean liner over the top of it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when they looked in there, there was no trash in there, but it was underneath the clean bag. The baby's dead. Okay, we have him in trauma too, but she killed the kid.
We discovered a dead baby in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. He came out at me and I didn't know what to do.
Lexi, I told you about this. I just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth.
It was not crying or nothing.
What did you do to it? Okay, stop right here. Stop.
Do you guys have, I'm the charge nurse here, do you guys have any questions for me?
Like, how big is the baby?
It's full term.
What?
9 months?
Nothing was crying.
Well, right now, she's being detained. So she's not going to leave from here at all, period. Okay? So one of us will
Is
be
it in your custody?
Like,
Yeah, she's detained. Yeah, she's not under arrest, but she is detained. Okay, she's not free to leave.
That footage is just so tough to watch. This week, we interviewed Trevizo's attorney, Gary Mitchell, about why he believes Trevizo is not at fault in this situation.
Not a single one of them told her that she was pregnant. Not a single one of them told her that we need to examine you. And then when she wanted to go to the restroom, nobody said, well, wait a second. This is classic. This is a classic instance. The female feels the need to go to the restroom. Maybe we better check and make sure she's not delivering a baby. For 48 minutes from the time they knew and had the blood test back showing she was pregnant, they sat at the nurse's station and in the doctor's office and did nothing for this child. So she is shocked whenever she delivers a baby. The nurses and doctors failed her. The office of the medical investigator has failed her. Hopefully her lawyers do not fail her, because that could be a catastrophic result. But once the facts all come out, I'm absolutely convinced that not only will we be able to show that she's totally innocent, but we'll be able to show what some people might call malpractice that took place.
Some strong words right there. Terry, if Trevizo's found not guilty of murder, what's the likelihood that she would be convicted of tampering with evidence?
Well, I think she actually could be found not guilty of murder if those types of arguments that we just heard were made. But even if she's guilty or not guilty, I think the tampering is the one piece of the charge that will stick. That means that she actually altered or destroyed or fabricated evidence to try to protect herself or someone else, but here to protect herself. When she delivered the baby, of course, they're claiming she did not know she was pregnant, but once she delivered that baby and she put it in the trash can, you have to ask yourself, she knew it was a baby, and what was she trying to cover there? So I think if you put this in front of a jury, even if she didn't understand before she went in that restroom that she was pregnant, once she delivered the baby, the attempt to hide what had happened, I think, is going to get her guilty. And we've seen this before. And I think she will be guilty on the charge for tampering with that evidence.
Well, Bryan, this interview that the attorney did it help Treviso? Did it help her defense in any way?
Yeah, Jesse, usually as a defense attorney, I'm not a big fan of defense attorneys going up there and giving out so much of their defense, but here I do think it helped. Now, in terms of the tampering with evidence case, I think, as Terry said, she's probably dead in the water there. But Brooke Skylar Richardson only got about 3 to 4 months of probation for that charge. So if they can get that, that's a win. But let's focus on the murder charge. The attorney says she went to the hospital for lower back pains, said on a scale of 1 to 10, she told the hospital it was a 10. Now I looked this up. One of the main signs of late-term miscarriages is, get this, pain and cramping to the abdomen and lower back. So the question becomes, did she go to the hospital exhibiting signs of early onset miscarriage and then freak out when the baby came out? Possible. And if it actually is true that she was not told that she was pregnant before she goes into the bathroom, that's a game changer for the defense. And also this body-worn camera where she says the baby didn't cry, that's going to be a big point of contention.
Okay, so it's going to be quite the battle between the prosecution and the defense. Bryan, Terry, thank you both so much. Thanks everybody for joining us here on Law&Crime Daily. We will see you next time as we discuss justice in America.